Alright, Instagram is live, TikTok is live, and we live on the app. We're gonna let a few folks.
It's frozen, bro.
Oh, it is frozen. I don't know why it's doing that. But yo, what's going on, Tone?
Tone, what up, Tone?
Tone is good. I don't know why it's frozen for us though. Yo, OG Mac, what's going on? Shout out to everybody on Dungeon Talk. Been a few weeks. We've been out the loop.
Yeah, man.
We've been out the loop. Yo, I don't know why. I don't know why it looked frozen for us.
Yeah, it look frozen, yo.
Yo,
Boss,
Tony
what
Bosco.
up, boss?
Yeah, the people rolling in. It's been a few weeks. It's been a few weeks.
Look like it's frozen.
We ain't been at it. Let me just adjust this. Yeah, it look frozen, but the people commenting.
Look like it's working.
The people commenting. Shout out to everybody jumping on TikTok as well as Instagram. I'm Spud Brooklyn.
I'm Nate.
And we are back with another Dungeon Talk. It's been a little bit.
Yeah, we've been gone for a little bit.
Yeah, it's been.
I think it was Mother's Day.
And then
somebody said, "Where y'all been?"
Yeah, where y'all been? Yo, Block said, "Yo, where we been?" It's been, we've been taking care of some stuff.
Yeah.
Some weeks it's just been hard to get at it, but we back. We want to hear from y'all, man. We want to hear from y'all. It's been a minute. What's going on in life and what's the talk? What everybody talking about?
Working. Tone said it's working.
Tone said it's told. He said, nah, not frozen. Yeah, for some reason on our end,
it looked frozen.
It looked frozen, but yeah,
That's what's up.
I'm glad it's moving. But yeah, man, I want to hear from y'all. What's new? We be kind of out the loop a little bit because we've been taking care of some of our stuff. He said, yo, y'all been shooting a movie. We've been doing a lot. Shout out to MJMG. She been shooting a lot of stuff on her end. Bosco been cooking up. Bosco was in town.
Yeah,
Shout out to Bosco.
Bosco was in town, and we shot a video. We shot a video, Top Controller, single coming out soon. The Checker Flag Boys was here, EJ and Heavy. Spud came through.
I came through. Yo, not to cut you off. Y'all was on the bridge.
Yeah, we
where
was,
they got
bro.
hit.
Yeah,
with the boat. I don't know if y'all saw the news with the boat hit the bridge and a few people had passed away. Y'all was actually out there for that.
Yeah, we was actually on the bridge, yo. We was actually filming a scene for Bosco's video, Top Controller, and as we filming, and the crazy part is that I don't know if people was watching Bosco's live. It was three Ravens and 3 different spots on the bridge. So I thought it was a crow, and Ravens give you signs. They said Ravens give you signs.
Wow, that could have been the sign, like.
And the worst part is one of the Ravens end up dying. 2 of them attack one, and it end up dying, and land like maybe 20 feet, maybe 10 feet.
Drop right near you.
Right near us. That's when we stopped. We actually walked down, and it was crazy, man.
How long after the bridge got hit with the boat?
Like maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, because we actually was walking down, and the boat was moving. And I guess in Bosco's video, you will see the boat in the back. You will see that boat back there.
Okay. Wow. That's strange. Maybe that was the sign, man. I'm glad y'all was safe, though.
Nah, it was cool, man.
Some people did pass away on that, though.
Yeah, on the boat. On the boat. It was cool. You know, it was cool, man. I just couldn't believe that the boat was sitting there. I was bugging because I never seen the boat on the side over there where they film Sports Center, all that right there. Pier 17. It was right there, like the bridge, and you could see the whole boat. We was actually watching, and we end up like once the Raven fell, we was gone, yo. We was gone.
Damn. OG Max said, "Wow, y'all hopefully said y'all prayers." Yeah, man. I'm glad everything worked out. Unfortunately,
OG Max said, "Yo, I love this fool's voice. It's disgusting."
Yeah.
That's what's up,
Yeah.
man.
My man Nate, the mad podcaster,
Yeah,
is in
man.
the building. We back. It's been a long. It's been a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah, a whole lot, man.
From there's been. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about the Diddy trials. There's been the situation with and we're speaking in sense so our lives don't get cut off.
Yeah,
but
man.
There's been the situation with the individual who lost his son, and then he took action against authorities, and there's been a lot of comment and stuff about that. It's been like one thing I'm noticing about social media, man, and you gotta be really careful about it. It's like it'll feed. Oh man, you talk about Tory Lanez.
Oh yeah, man. That's it's see we've been gone so long, and it's foul, yo. It's foul what happened to Tory, man. You know, I hope he pulled through, man. That's all I can say, man.
Now with the Tory Lanez thing, what's very interesting to me is like social media is posting like the video clips of Megan in the street talking to the officers and it's like during trial, during all the proceedings, like all this stuff. Where was all this stuff? Like you can't tell me something ain't wrong in that case. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me something ain't wrong. Where was all this? How social media got it?
That's foul, bro.
It ain't coming.
It's foul. It'll be foul if they do take it back to trial and give him a retrial and things turn out to be different, man. He almost lost his life in there, man.
He got a mean lawsuit.
Yeah, he do, man. But he almost lost his life in there, man. You know.
Yeah.
He almost lost his life, man, and it's not good, man. It's not good, man.
And there's I don't want to use the word conspiracies, but there's a lot of conversation about, who possibly orchestrated that happening and yada yada. It is ironic and interesting that it all happened at the same time, around the time that the announcements were being made and all that. Very interesting about that, but I do hope he pulled through, man. Getting stabbed in prison ain't anything. More or less 14 or something times he got stabbed.
14 times, man.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't fun. It ain't fun. I know in Clinton, when I was 21, I just got to Clinton, I got stabbed. And I got stabbed for some dumb shit too, but I got stabbed, bro. And the chaoticness in the moment, like you go into this, super tribal warfare, and I ain't get stabbed 14 times. Luckily I didn't get stabbed in somewhere that was very detrimental. He tried to stab me in my chest, and I didn't know. I was reaching for a doorknob to get out this thing. It's the bubble where we watch TV, and I was trying to walk out, and he was on the side of me behind, and he went over me. But the time he went over me to stab me, I was reaching for the door. He stabbed me in my arm, but it got stuck. It got stuck in my arm.
Man.
It got stuck in my arm. Word. Got stuck in my arm. Shout out to Muhammad. Muhammad was like, yo, son, here's a Glock. Dude, Muhammad came to my cell with a sharpened fiberglass and a sewing kit, bro. And he was like, yo, you snitching? I was like, I ain't snitching. But I ain't know Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? I ain't know nobody. I'm like, I ain't snitching. He like, yo, you gonna have to stab something. But first, you gotta sew that up. He gave me a sewing kit and a bag of dope, bro.
You showed it up?
Yeah, and me like a foolio, right? Because I don't want to do drugs. I flushed the bag of dope. I didn't know. I thought he wanted me to take it and numb myself to do it. He was telling me to put it in a cup, but I just came from DFY, and DFY, we knuckle up. There was a few cuttings. There was no stabbings. So me like a foolio, I flushed it, bro.
Thank God you here, man. Thank God you're here.
Yeah.
And when Spud tell them stories when he went behind bars, man, I just thank God he survived behind there, man. Cause a lot of people don't make it, man. A lot of people come out really fucked up from them situations, man. And bad for Tory, man. Tory got the bad end of the stick of that one, man. And I don't know if Tory ever gonna retaliate, cause they gonna get him up out of there, bro.
Yeah, he gonna be.
He gonna get up out of there, man.
Yeah, most definitely. He gonna be out of. He gonna be up out of there, without a doubt. Without a doubt. My man said I'd rather get shot than stabbed. He said I got stabbed twice with a butcher knife. Yo, my man OG Mac got some stories, boy. He been through some joint. Timothy Williams said a hard time is no joke. It's you know what's crazy, like the phrase hard time, because when you get sentenced you're no longer in jail. You go to prison and they say hard time. Yo, I used to look at someone with a 1 and 3 when I first started. Like, yo, bro, what you crying about? You got a 1 and 3, bro. I got a life sentence, bro. But for him, that 1 and 3 is his life sentence, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It's a long time.
It's a long time. You know what I mean?
That 1 to 3 ain't just a 1 and 3,
It
bro.
ain't a 1 and 3, bro. And I watch people turn 1 and 3s to 15 of life. You know what I'm saying? A kid named Uga from the Bronx. Boy, he turned a 1. No, he turned a 2 to 6. He caught a body. He caught a body and turned that to.
Look, they already restricted you, bro.
Yep. Look,
TikTok, you can't talk crazy on TikTok, man. So you got restricted already, man.
TikTok already.
Yeah, they don't give you a chance to speak. If it ain't what they like, they shut them off, man.
Yeah, it's all right. But Timothy Williams on TikTok, he said something that's real deep, man. He was like, we could be your life.
Yeah, it could.
It could, man.
It's true what they say, man. Only the strong survive, man. You got to survive in there, man. If you can't knuckle up and you ain't got that, what Spanish people call a wakataka.
He said a wakataka?
Yeah, wakataka.
You gotta break the wakataka down.
Wakataka.
What's the wakataka?
It's that plunger, bro.
Oh, you gotta.
Yeah, you understand? I'm Puerto Rican. I'm half Puerto Rican, half
you
black,
man.
You
wakataka.
You know that wakataka. It puts you out of misery, bro.
That's how they be like in the
the
Grease movies.
It's crazy, man, and the jail ain't for everybody, man.
It ain't for nobody.
No, listen, it ain't for nobody.
It ain't for nobody, but when you go into that place, not everybody can maintain it. Everybody can't go through it. Yo, salute to Renegade. My man Tone said, F TikTok. They let the N-word fly all day. But we know how these platforms work, and we yo, Dad's fire. Shaw calling me. What's this? Yo, we live right now, my brother. Alright, say no more. Shout out to him. Shaw, that's fire. He just called. He said he about to tune in. He gonna tune in. Yeah, man, but prison itself. I use this phrase. And I said this in parole. When they was asking me like, yo, why you got box time? Explain yourself. How you end up in solitary confinement? I'm like, yo, you put me in an environment where everybody you feel is not fit for society, and expect me to make it through. How?
That's the wild part. That's the wild part. They expect you to just like walk through there like it's a Holiday Inn or something. Like, it's real, man. It's real, man. Prison is real, man. And people, especially the youngest, man. I don't want to go back to the youngest, but these little 15, 16-year-olds thinking that they could put people out of their misery, man. Once you hit that prison, it's a long ride, bro. It's a long ride, man. These kids better wake up, man. They better wake up, man. Learn how to knuckle up or figure it out, man. Stop shooting each other, and it's wild, man. It's just wild. See a little 14-year-old girl, little 15-year-old kid that killed a 14-year-old girl in the Bronx.
Yeah.
In the playground. Can't even go to the park no more, bro. And you know what's sad?
That's sad, man.
You know what's more sad? That the police don't even care, bro. They don't care, bro. It's just another person they ain't got to chase, bro. It's sad, bro.
It is sad.
15 years old. You wasted your whole life.
Whole life, man.
His whole life. Now you gonna sit behind bars, man.
And I'm not justifying. I'm not justifying. Shout out to New Orleans.
Shout out.
Shout out to New Orleans. I'm not trying to justify crime at all. I'm not justifying crime and the reasons. But when I was coming up as a kid, and even the mistakes that I made, it was all in the idea of the come up, right? Whether it was we try to get a little bread. MJMG presents. If we were trying to make some money, if we was in a hardship, if my man was in a jam, it was something for the advancement. Yo, now they just wildin'. They not even. It ain't even like they hurting. Yo, they got all the dope kicks. They got bread for all the smoke they need. They not hurting, and they just wilding. Like there's no objection.
They don't care about life.
To the reasoning, like we didn't just clap something for clap something. It was like we were playing this game, which wasn't always right. And if you violated some of the codes in the game, the game progressed to the next stages. And I'm speaking because how social media is.
You gotta remember, back in the days, man, you always had somebody older that'll whip your ass, man. You always had somebody that'll check you before you do something
Big
stupid,
boy,
man.
what's good?
These kids now, they get in a group and one gas another one up, or it just be they just want to make a name for themselves, not knowing that they're gonna sit in prison for the rest of their life, man.
Yeah.
And at 15, you carrying a hammer, you took somebody's life, man. You got a long road ahead of you, bro.
You do, and then when you get out,
that's if you get out.
If you get out, yeah. If you get out, like how the world continues. Ms. J asked a question, and I wanna talk about that. I hear a lot of people talking about. She said, "Does sagging represent something?" And I hear a lot of people talk about, sagging came from prison and sagging came from prison and all that. And as a person who did 13 years in prison, sagging wasn't a thing in prison, bro.
They don't wear their pants down.
It wasn't a thing in prison. Matter of fact, you could not do that.
That's right, because they tell you to pick your pants.
You can't do that in prison. So as far as a New York culture, as a person who's been not in one facility, not in two facilities, I've been in 10 facilities. It wasn't a thing.
You know what's more crazy though? They sagging and they pants tight as hell. I don't understand that. They got little ass jeans and they got your drawers showing. Like people want to see your drawers. Like, come on, bro. There's kids outside, there's little girls, little kids, even women, your moms could be outside. You got your drawers showing. Who cares what you got on, bro? Then your pants little as hell. Your pants little as hell.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they get them tight ass shits on, bro. I'm serious, bro. These kids is crazy, bro.
I saw this is what blew my mind with sagging. This is what blew my mind with sagging. I'm in the street and my man got on jeans, right? Tight jeans, they tight too, but he got sweatpants under the jeans. So
oh my God.
So he got his pants sagging, right? But then he had the sweatpants like midway sagging with his drawers showing, right? And he's walking down the street, and I just look like my man look like a cowboy, right? He walking like this to keep his shit up, and he holding the front, and he walking like this, and I'm just looking like, what, why, like, what? Now I don't wear my pants all on my hip. It's not comfortable. Most jeans ain't made the way I cut. I like to cut, so I give a little slack. In the groin area, I give a little slack, but I'm not trying to show my shorts and
I'm
my
saying,
drawers.
I'm saying, bro, who want to see it? Who cares? Who cares where your drawers is? Like, it's wild, bro. I see them with them tight ass pants. I'm like, yo, it's no way you fit in those, bro.
First of all, you're not scrapping.
No, you can't.
You're not running from an older kid.
You stuck.
You stuck. You gonna take this ass whooping, right?
But you're getting your ass whipped for real. And if they sweep that leg, your ass is really done.
You taking that? You not running. You not. Yo, it's crazy, bro.
I don't know. Listen, man.
He said it'd be their little sister's pants.
It has to be their sisters. It be somebody pants, they girls' pants, somebody pants. And if your pants tighter than your girls, you got a problem, bro. That was never that. That's why the OG Mac Drama said the OGs used to slap him. There's no more OGs. The OGs are 22 years old, running around with the 15, 16-year-olds, bro. And these kids is crazy.
Timothy said, "Yo, it's time for the older generation to grab and change their attitude."
Yeah, it is.
It is.
They only following what they see, bro.
It is.
They don't know.
It is. It is. There's not a lot of like the OGs don't really take on the role no more, and these kids throw around the words of OG and Unk to someone 20, 22, talking about, yo, that's the OG, that's Unk. So we kind of left them in the corner. And they running around talking about their OG is 3 years older than them when he's still a baby, bro.
That's crazy,
He's still
bro.
a baby, you know what I mean? And we kind of left them. We kind of left them, bro.
We ain't leave them, bro. They don't have it. You know the problem is, Spud? I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it a buck, Spud.
We left them, bro.
We didn't leave them, Spud. You can't leave something that these kids follow off. Spud, we didn't have the things they have now. They watch it. They get entertained by stupidity.
They do, but they don't even know what they have. We know it because we did without it. I seen kids, like, I watched it with my kids. They had the laptop, and over reflex, they touching the screen, right? Thinking it's touch screen. For us, touch screen is a luxury. We still like, yo, it's touch. To them, it's normal, and that's what happened with the generation. So when we looking at them like, yo, you should appreciate what you have, they can't appreciate it because they don't know what it is without it. They don't know what it is to just play with commercials on TV and you can't watch the whole show. They don't know it, bro.
Like Shaw said, they don't have it bad like us. We never had it bad, Shaw. We didn't have nothing, but we had respect.
Yeah.
We never had nothing bad, bro. We knew what we could do and what we couldn't do. These kids do it because they want to do it and they think it's cool.
But you see how you said we had nothing bad? You see how you said that? That's how they feeling too.
So these kids don't listen, Spud. They don't listen,
They don't
bro.
know.
They know.
No,
they know when they get on TV or they get behind the light and when the cops put the light on them and they start telling on each other.
They don't know.
These kids is bugged out, Spud. They bugged out. They need guidance, bro.
They need guidance because they don't.
They don't respect listen. They don't respect their moms, their pops, their grandmother. These kids think they know everything.
That's awful.
And you know it is. You know why? Because parenting stopped parenting. You whip them. Listen, you whip them out like you used to get it. But listen, these kids want to be down, Spud. They want to be down.
I hear a lot. I hear a lot about, like, you know, parenting, and it starts in the house. It does start in the house. It most definitely starts in the house. But growing up, it wasn't the house that taught us everything. It was in school. It was the block. Yeah. We got taught. It was a 360 learning cycle for us coming up in the hood. The parents gave us a structure and a baseline of respect, honor, all that. But then when we got on the block, then you got trust. You build friendship. You understood what the codes of the streets was, depending on what side you played. It was a 360. That 360 is diminished. But the streets don't teach no more.
Let me ask you a question.
School does a whole thing.
Spud, how you say that the streets teach? Spud, some of these kids couldn't even be in the street. You will have to go home.
Yes.
And at your age, these kids is running around with hammers. They doing everything they're not supposed to. They can't read. They cut in school like they gonna do something big. So the dude that's telling them, that's a little older than them, he more stupid. Cause he don't care about them. He care. Yo, listen, go finish son off. And they more like you have your own mind. These kids don't realize they have way more than we did, bro.
They don't know that.
They know. No, they don't want to know, Spot. They want to know what the Javantes, Balenciagas, all that stupid shit, bro.
But they can't judge and understand the experience of what they have because they grew up in it. They grew up in this technology. They woke up to everything being digital, and they don't know what they don't have. So the respect and the honor to what they have is diminished. That's like how our parents used to look at us. We wanted the Jordans when we was kids, or we wanted something, and then the parents would be like, "You crazy? When I was young, we had one slipper and one shoe." We looking at you like, one slipper, one shoe. Where you from? But they was looking at us like, "Yo, y'all don't know what y'all got," and we didn't know. Like, we grow up right now, I can say, "Yo, life was this." We don't know what we had because we just had it. But our generation before, all the stuff that they used to tell us, like, "Yo, y'all lucky." You're lucky. We couldn't even wear that.
Let me ask you a question, but what did we have? We had nothing. We had Skelly. We had nothing like the technology that these kids have.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it in a bad way, but we had nothing. We had
Yeah.
Atari. We had ColecoVision.
Yeah.
These kids, oh, you're an old head. To be an old head, that means you survived a long time to be in the street. Who knows if you're going to be an old head? You know, these kids don't understand. You make an image for what reason? You probably can't fight. So when you go in the system, what you going to do? What are you going to do? So when I see the things on TV, 15, 13, you know, and for all the people that don't do nothing, when they do see it, the first thing they do is snatch a phone out.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You see kids rumbling in the street, oh, take the phone out.
Because now, you take the abundance of technology and the expression of technology, everything. Like, if you really do the knowledge and sit back and do the science and the analytic background, whatever you want to call it, of how life is made right now, everything is based off social media. Everything.
But
how we obtain information now, everything got disrupted by social media. So you take the generation who has all the tools that we didn't have, all the access, don't even understand the tools that they have. It just is. It's gonna snowball.
you know, like even if it, Spud, we had, you know, some people was fortunate. You had one pair of sneakers. You had one television. You didn't have a phone. You had one phone. You couldn't touch it if you didn't pay a bill.
Yeah.
These kids are so fortunate. That's why I say, you know, they don't understand.
And you see what you just said? Yo, we had one television. I remember in my house playing the Nintendo on my living room joint and my pop saying, I ain't have a TV. Y'all gotta appreciate that. I couldn't understand not having a TV. So I couldn't appreciate having the TV because the TV was in my living room since I was born. I had a TV. So I couldn't understand the depth of the not having. And that's what's happening with our generation when it comes to this technology. They don't want to hear, yo, my kids laugh at me when I was like, yo, you can watch on demand. She was like, what? I was like, you had to wait a week for the show to air. They were blown away.
They don't know what a VCR is.
They don't.
They don't know what a. They don't know.
We do. So since we know this, it's our duty to translate the culture of that for the appreciation, so that way they could do the same. But there's a detachment, bro. We not doing that as a people.
But the people, our people don't want to help each other, bro. I'm telling you, bro. It's no way. Spud,
No.
I'm not saying it in a bad way. Spud, our people. If Spud, you tell me every week we need one. Spud, there's many of them. There's many of them. These kids don't want it, Spud. They don't want it. You know what these kids need, Spud? Oh, truthfully, them little kids that's running around the streets and all that, throw them in a cell. See how long they last in a cell. Don't send him home to his mom's. You tough. Go upstate and see how it is. Go get away from your moms. At 15, look, 13, 14, 15, all the way to you 18. You do something, send them up north. Send them up north and see how long. Listen, you want to play around.
I wouldn't say that.
Listen, you want to play around, Spud. So you're gonna let them go on the street and let the wolves get them?
No.
The wolves are gonna get them.
The wolves are gonna get some. Prison's gonna get some, and we gotta get some. I wouldn't put any kid. Everything is case by case, man. Is mitigating circumstances. I seen good kids make one mistake and sent them north. He a bad person for the rest of his life. He's a bad person for the rest of his life because he made a decision that he really didn't understand, and he still had some good in him, but he thought he was slick or he was smart or he needed some bread, and now he did that 1 year, and now he the ultimate street dude. Yes, the wolves are gonna get some, bro.
Yeah, but listen,
prison is gonna get some,
and the wolves,
and we have to get some.
And you know what?
That's what we gotta do. We gotta get some.
A lot of people that are the wolves, they grown men. They grown men doing this to kids, bro, cause they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it, and those dudes probably couldn't be on the block when we was kids.
No.
Those dudes was the dudes that was scared, that got ran off the block. Those are the dudes that telling shorty, yo, sag your pants, do all this, follow this, do this. You know, it's not cool, bro. I don't Listen, Spud, I get tired of seeing kids. Even the kids, if you want to change, you could change, bro. You're going to change. You don't got to, like, perpetrate nothing to be tough.
I get you don't have to purpose.
These kids want to be something. And they don't realize until the shit hit the fan,
They
bro.
don't, but we got the edge, bro. We got to get them. And like I said, we ain't going to get all of them. The Wolves are going to get some. The Block is going to get some. Up North is going to get some. Cops are going to get some. Gang members are going to get some. But we got to do it too. The most majority of us, we sitting back watching everyone get. And we like, yo, he's a fool. We got to partake in the get. Because if we don't, they going to get them all. And then we are doomed. And we can't let it happen. We got to do that because we know, bro. We know.
You know, I always say, man, at the end of the day, man, you gotta save them. You gotta help them, bro.
Yeah.
And a lot of these kids need guidance, bro.
They need it.
And the more we send them home or we send them outside, there's things that, like I say, we made things up with our imagination. We played games. We did things. They have technology. They try to mimic something that they see on that phone, on the pad. You don't know what's the consequences of what you just mimicked.
You don't.
You know, so after, say, you take somebody's life, your life is over, bro. It ain't no play fair no more.
It ain't.
So when these kids carrying guns, where you get the gun from? Where you get guns from, bro?
That's a very great question.
You know, where did you get the gun from that you can have that in your...
How does a military-grade gun get into Brownsville, Bushwick, Oakland, the 5th Ward?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How does a military-grade gun, how does a 1911, a Beretta M92, how the hell I know these things, right? You see what I'm saying? That's the get. Everyone's playing their get. Gotta get. I recently did career day this week in Canarsie at Uncommon School, and I do this thing where I walk in and I'm like, hey everybody, I'm a music industry professional, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, I work with labels that work with Nicki Minaj, Drake, and I'm running off all the lights and the glamour. And as I got them at the edge of their seats like this, at the edge of their seats, and I said, but before all that, I'm just a normal kid from Brooklyn. At the age of 15, I was sentenced to life in prison. Even the teachers be like, and I share that story. And I remember being in this space, sharing my story. And I know all the other people with the professions for career day, all of them just talking about their career. I did a whole spiel about prison, and then I brought them back. And you know what a kid came to me and said? Yo, man, that really hit home. Because I be on the block. And I say to him, what you doing on the block? You know what he said to me? I really don't want to be there.
Ain't got no...
But he said, but all my mans be doing it. And I'm trying to figure out a way to not. And I said, yo, brother, that's the start right there. I said, you see what you just said? You're trying to figure out a way to not do that. You know what you need to do. But what if I ain't say shit to him?
You know, son, Spot, that you just said that? Not to cut you off. When you go to prison, I want to see where your mans is at since you've been on that block. That's why I say at that age, you need to get on the bus and understand what they take from you, your freedom, your stuff that you really enjoy, the pads, all that.
The bus ain't the answer.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's either the bus or the box. What you want?
No.
What do you want?
What I'm saying is, yes, some will learn from the bus. Some will learn when they get popped. Some will learn. I'm not arguing that, but the bus ain't just the answer.
I'm not saying it's the answer, Spud. But if you're not gonna listen to the people that love you and want to see you succeed, listen. It's either that or the box. Which one do you want?
You know what I feel it is? Us who know the streets, us who know prison, us who know the hardship, us who know how it feel to get shot, us who know how it is to get stabbed. It's us. We got the head start because we was that kid. I was the 15-year-old kid who had a hammer and went to school and went to school and had good grades. But I had a hammer.
At 15, at that time that you had the hammer, Spud, you knew the consequences of
I didn't.
Spud, listen,
I didn't,
you
bro.
had the hammer for what reason?
I didn't. You know why I had the hammer? Because we all had hammers.
All right, so everybody got a hammer.
I had no drama.
All right, look what you just said. Everybody that you was around at 15 had a hammer. Maybe one guy got the hammer, and the rest of them gonna run when you plug the hammer.
Yeah.
So,
but what I'm trying to say is, I never want to forget the 15-year-old me who still made those decisions because of how the world perceived, or my perception of the world around me was. And that's the same thing that's mirroring with these youngins. So now that I know that aspect of being a 15-year-old dude, I can't sit here and be like, look at this dumb motherfucker, and then just leave him as a dumb motherfucker. I gotta be like, yo, shorty, check this out. I know what you doing, bro. I know where you been. I've been there. Actually, I did the time for it. But I'm back. I'm here to tell you, we gotta do more of that.
But Spud, you're one out of, like you say, you're one.
Yes.
A lot of dudes that are not one want to make him think he's the one. So he does things out of pocket. It's like the same thing of riding the trains or subway surfing. You never heard that in your life.
Yeah, that's
These kids they wow. Like, it's no way that you want to get a TikTok or a YouTube page and ride the top of the train, flying, not even holding on.
Ron McCurry said, honestly, bro, these youngins don't have respect.
At all.
Anything or anyone.
At all,
and a lot of them, but you see, and I want to answer to Ron's thing. A lot of them don't have respect for anything and everything, but we can't classify that as a reason just to let it be, because in the 100 of them, I could possibly say 50% of the 100 of them really soft, really good kids falling in. And if I could get 50 out of 100, if I get 2 out of the 100, I'm going to get the 2, because that 2 could probably save 100 more.
But like I say, man, it's you could save them. We all could save them.
Yeah.
But them rest of them kids, when he do leave out of there, they gonna get him. They gonna get him, and at home, they probably not getting the love that they getting at the place where you give them. You understand?
Yeah.
It's the parenting. It's the stuff that they not getting at home. And if they do get it at home, they trying to be down, and they know that when your mother or your father gets you, your ass is grass.
Yeah.
And one thing that people did stop doing was whipping their ass, bro. Whipping them, bro.
OG Max said, yo, I get the ones that had no mother or father to be a role model, and yeah, I get that. But now compared to when we were kids, we didn't have the outlets of influence like they have now. We didn't have, all we had was the block. The block was our influences. We saw a son hustling, he got jewelry, a rope chain, a nice car. It was the block. So it was easy to counter the block for parents. It was easy to be like, all right, listen, stay inside. Or you could channel because you knew where it was coming from. Our youth now, they getting it from everywhere. Everywhere. We got tens of thousands of apps. We got streaming sites. They getting it from everywhere, bro. So our fight got to be even tighter now, because it ain't just the block. They got billions of the blocks now.
Let me ask you a question. What block? They can't stand on the block. Somebody's shooting the block up. These little dudes, and this is another thing. They can't stand on the block. They can't chill on the block where they live. They can't do certain things that we did as a kid. So
we did that too, bro.
What, shoot the block up?
We did that too, bro.
We did
that. We did that.
You don't spin the block? Spin the block is that you really gonna spin the block. You're not gonna shoot it up unless they did one of your man's filthy.
No, they did that. You understand? How many times you heard people in the same projects couldn't even cross?
Yeah, but that's the project. That's the project.
We did it, though.
I'm not saying it in a bad way, but these kids do it on purpose.
We did.
They can't chill on their own steps. Some kids can't even cross the street because they they call the ops. The ops is across the street.
It's intensified now, but we did it, bro. We did. It said I did.
Everybody do it, but it's a different way to do it.
This is the transitions of our motherfucking actions. We are getting a cause and effect. Our generation right now is a cause and effect. If we got any hustlers in here right now, who pumped drugs into the community and made some riches, you think those parents and those crackheads and them dope fiends that had kids after they was getting high, there's no repercussions of the transitions of our lives? All the stick ups we did and the shootouts we had.
At the end of the day, said that. Spud, the crackheads are not the same.
No,
there's nothing the same.
It's not.
So, but them drug dealers was sending you home, bro. You wasn't gonna come shoot that block up. You messing his money up.
So you mean to tell me right now, right? I'm just gonna stop at this 1970. From 1970. And I could say probably 95, the drug game got messed up. After 95, the block was crazy. But from 1970, and we're just going to go from 70 to 1990. We talking, and I'm just going to keep it in New York. I ain't going worldwide. I'm talking Harlem, Bronx. I'm talking heroin in Harlem, crack in the Bronx and Brooklyn, cocaine in Queens, all that. From 70 to 1990. People getting high, all that. And then you have 1990 to 2000. There's no transition of the actions from the people getting high to their parenting, to their kids. We all play a part in these youngins today. We do, bro.
And I'm one. The 2000 they consider. I mean, the 90s is the crack babies, right? That's what they say. This is how they break it down.
Yeah, because the 80s was what really took it. It
you
went
understand? So if the 90s are crack babies, so there was crack, there was heroin. So now, if you're look at it, man. Your family was using drugs. They changed their life and stopped using drugs at this era and had a child. So you telling me that everything that they did to fix their life, their kids are following things that they never seen. Crack was bad. All them drugs were bad, but you couldn't chill on a block if the drug dealer was selling drugs, bro.
You couldn't.
And if you shot the block up, you got consequences.
You couldn't.
These kids do it because it's funny to them. So it's like an amusement.
But like you just said, you couldn't be on the block with the hustlers. I remember marveling over. I never was into selling drugs. That was never my thing. I think I strayed more into the hammer work. That was what I marveled over. I could say that with accountability now, right? But I used to look at the dudes hustling they just had some cool stuff. In reality, and anybody could contest this to me. The dudes on the block, they ain't school you unless they schooled you in doing what they did. So when you marveled over that, you had to put in the pieces to achieve that. So when I saw the block, even when I saw my brothers moving and shaking and doing what they do, now I see the shake and move, but there's a big understanding and knowledge to how to shake and move that don't get translated. So what I do, I try to find my own footing. And that's what I don't care. We talk about OGs. OGs rarely drop jewels unless they having you do what they do. And if I do that, now I'm putting you even in danger.
You know what the OGs did to us? Yo, listen, I don't want you to be here. We doing something you don't need to see. And number two is you don't need to be in jail. Go to school.
How many times as a parent, my moms or my dad or your moms and your pops tell you, don't do XYZ. What the fuck we go do?
You know what's the crazy part is though?
We do it.
No, Spud.
We do it.
Listen,
don't go out
Spud,
there and hang out with that guy.
Spud, listen to me.
Especially
I grew up on a block.
Because you was a bad kid.
I was a bad kid, but I grew up on a block. I grew up on a block where the people that was hustling. Yo, listen, there's things you could do and you couldn't do. I couldn't bring drama to my block. I couldn't do things that, even if I played with a gun, it was consequences of playing with that gun.
Yes.
So if I brought it to my block, now I gotta worry about what's behind me. Yeah. My moms, my sisters, my family. It was nothing to play with. They do it out of being funny. It's cool to bust a gun. You can't hold it. You shooting wild.
No, I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing any of that. It's true. But what I'm saying is the transitions of how we move through the block work and how we move, as it keeps going, it's gonna get uglier. It's gonna get worse because what happens? we don't really drop the gems. We say you don't do what I do, but then I'm on the block with the whip. With the chains. I'm out there counting cash, sending kids to the store with $100. Yo, keep the change. You think a kid look up to that like, damn, I want to move like that. But he don't know the measurements of the move like that. He don't know the true repercussions of the move like that. And what he do? He try to find his footings. He start going, and then it gets uglier. And then the one before, after him, looking at him like, yo, man, he making moves. And then we just keep transitioning, getting muddier and muddier, trying to find footings. Falling, scraping, and it sets a tone, bro.
I learned at the end of the day.
TikTok sent the message. I was wondering, here we go.
I learned, like, you know, there's a lot of things that you can't do, bro. And these kids, I don't know what they be thinking about. It's true what the guy said. The respect, they don't have none. And if it's not taught in the crib, I don't care who told you what to do. You have a choice. It could be your best one or your last one. And these kids nowadays to turn on a TV and see 15 killing a 14, that wasn't in my era. And I know that maybe that kid told them, or his mom said, yo, listen, please go to school, do this. These kids don't go to school, Spud. They don't do things. They doing things that we was never allowed to do. And if it's TikTok or Instagram, whatever it is, it's something that you could raise your kid in the ghetto to be something very successful, bro.
You can.
And these kids, no matter if you speak to them, when they go outside, like you said, they homies, they bros, they're standing on that corner, you have a choice. You could go home, bro.
You can.
And it's sad. You have a whole program, Spot, to teach kids to do things.
I was gonna speak on that. Like I got asked to go to Brownsville, and if anybody know him in Brooklyn, Brownsville has always been like, you know, if y'all know MOP, Mash Out Posse, it always been rugged smooth. Like the phrase of Brownsville was never ran, never will, right? And I went to the school, bro, and I was blown away. And in the school I went to, I think that was Tilden houses or Brownsville houses. You got to go through the middle of the PJs, and in the back it's the uncommon. So you got to cut through the PJs to get to the school. So automatically I'm like, I'm in the trenches. So now I'm in survival mode, but I'm cool. Yo, bro, this school, like I came back, and I don't know if even Muse is on right now. I came back and I was so happy and prideful. The words I used. The words I used when I got back home was, I feel like the world, like we have an amazing chance of making it. I watched a bunch of young kids, like coders. I watched. It was a whole different perspective of what I knew of Brownsville, and the reason why I'm bringing up that whole thing about it is, yes, there is a large demographic of our generation, our youth generation, that are wilding. But us as people, we also got to be mindful that that's not the completion of all. And sometimes we use words like, we lost our youth, or our youth are doomed. We use these and not realizing that we perpetuating the concept of losing them. Now, we ain't lose all of them. Yes, there's a problem. There's a big problem. Right. I'm not even going to say there's a big problem, but when I went to that school, bro, I kid you not, I came home and I was like, love, I feel like rejuvenated to see these kids with so much light and brightness and respect. I was just like, damn, this is what needs to be projected.
It can happen.
But it also needs to be projected, because even media, like, we got to be careful with media. We got to be careful with social media, because they will pump that a lot, to the point where we think that's all that's left. Like, I needed to see that again, because it was a reminder that we flourishing, and that needs to be in the forefront. That needs to be shown.
You know that you said that, Spud? I went to my son's school, and my son is playing the cello. My son. And every kid that was up there was a black kid. Every kid. And yo, Spud, I sat there and I was like, some of the stuff they played, I was like, yo, I only seen that on TV, bro. and to see like it can be done, bro.
Yeah.
It can be done,
and it's happening.
And it's happening, but people have to step in. Everybody has to step in. It can't be just me, you, two other dudes. Everybody, the school. If you could go to the school like you just said, Brownsville, the first thing you thought was the trenches. Let me go back in there.
I cut through the PJs to get to the school, and I'm like, oh man, I got my head on my swivel. But I felt at home. I'm in Brooklyn, but I'm not blinded by the possibilities of what could happen. But when I got into that school, bro, I couldn't believe how it was great. I had a youth escort who guided me. How you doing, sir? How's your day? This is where we going. They guided me, and I went to class by class, and I sat in class by class, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. Like, why isn't this seen? I went to the principal, who was a black lady. I went to the principal, and I was like, what we gotta do?
She cares, bro.
I'm like, yo, what we gotta do? Like, this is beautiful. Like, what we gotta do? And she was like, yo, let's exchange it. And I was like, yo, I do programs. I was like, I do content. I told her like this content. She's like, I don't want to look like I'm exploring the kids for promotional use. And I said, but the world's exploiting the negative. We need to see this. Like, we need to see our scholars. We need to see that, man. And I was just like so happy to be in that space, man. After that, I went to 3. That's why I went to career day, cause that ignited. I was like, yo, I'm going to everything over there. And I've been in Canarsie, Brownsville for the last 2 weeks. And I've been on that.
And you know, Spud, they classify things like Brownsville. Spud, there's a lot of good things that do come out of these ghettos, bro. There's people who just have to care, bro. A lot of people don't care. They don't show these kids there's better things in life than to do what they doing, bro. Yeah. It's cool. It's not cool. You have a life. You know, at the end of the day, we lived our lives, and we lived in, like people say, the hard times. They was not hard times. They was great times. Those was times that we wish we could get back, because we didn't understand. Now I don't understand what these kids are doing, just shooting up a block, doing everything they not supposed to, and cry when you sit in a cell, or they end up, God forbid, putting you in a box. Because you do. Listen, forget that. You also got to remember that you got to fight. You got to protect yourself in the streets from the people that's supposed to help you too. Yeah. So you're not winning. You're not winning. And when they do it, I just bug out. Like, I thank God that my kids do what they have to do. And, and for the kids that, fix your life, bro. That's all I can say is just fix your life. I could tell you something. If you want to take heed to it, that's on you.
And I want to add to that. Yeah, fix your life. And for us who've been through what we don't want our youth to go through, let's fix a life.
That's right.
Your youth, fix your life, and let us fix a life. We can't fix them all. But if you see that door, if you see that light, if you see that possibility, we got to grab that. We got to grab them. We got to grab it. You see that little light? We got to grab it. We got to share our backgrounds. We got to share our stories. We got to share, because there's enough things that's grabbing them.
OG, man, the lucky ones get placed in the box. All of them are lucky, man. They lucky to be living, man. At this time, they lucky to be living. And when they do call me old head, I'm happy that I'm an old head, that I went through a time in my life that I could really see, you understand? And I'm still sitting here. So I don't understand when, even with the guys that are on here, like, there's a lot of things that we could do to help the kids, bro. I go outside and throw footballs. You don't even see the kids playing football. No. They don't know what Skelly is. They don't know little things that we put together. As putting a crate on a piece of plywood and just playing basketball, because that's another thing. They lock the parks for the kids. They don't take care of the parks.
And creativity is limited because the kids nowadays are fed things to do. Like, we had to get creative and cut a hole under the crate, nail it to a tree, and play ball. We got creative making games like tag, freeze tag, hide and go seek. We got creative. Now that the how society and everything is, where everything's just direct feed. They getting a direct feed from everything. It's like a computer just going this. and it's just shooting direct feed, which is keeping them stuck. That's why you don't see kids out on Saturday and Sunday.
You don't even see them in the park no more. You don't see kids in the park no more. You don't see them doing anything.
If you see a kid in the park, he's too young to have a phone.
And those are the real little kids.
The little kids.
But this is what I'm saying. At 13, 14, these kids is on the phone. And you know what? It's our fault. Because we give them the phone. But we need to give them the phone to protect themselves. So you have a no-win situation. It's like in the schools. They want to ban the phones. But what if, God forbid, somebody end up doing something in the schools? How you get in contact with your kid?
Yeah.
You know, it's these people are playing with fire. It's fire.
It's really hard. It's a really hard time to pinpoint what to do. It's just genuinely speaking, it's very hard to pinpoint what to do because how technology snowballed. A lot of the things of technology we depend on. Not only what's good, we depend on it. So it's really hard to gauge. Oh, we need it for this, but we're not gonna use it for this. It's so hard. I mean, from keeping phone numbers to bank accounts. Now you can't even sign in to other devices because they like, oh, we sent the code to your phone. Like the way it snowballed to a point where it's real difficult to really pinpoint what to do. And this is why we gotta just chip away at everything that we can, because if we waiting for it to change, it's going this way. It's gonna keep going this way. So we gotta find a way to start directing, like, nah, we don't want it to turn that way because it's snowball. We can't stop the avalanche.
I do everything that the older dudes taught me for the youngins. You understand? I make sure that they understand that school's important, and listen, man, you're not gonna do the things you think you're gonna do around me, bro. And it's not gonna happen. You might be a tough guy today, but listen, man, that's not gonna happen here. I go outside and try to play with kids, and you know, a lot of kids don't have people that they could play with, or throw the ball.
I seen you set the whole pool up on the block.
Yeah, you have to, bro. Because at the end of the day, and that's things I didn't have. We had a fire hydrant. You can open a fire hydrant, but I learned that these kids, to entertain them, you have to give them something that they don't know, Spud. They don't even ride bikes. You don't see kids riding bikes.
They don't.
You don't see kids doing anything as a kid.
Physical.
The kids are not kids. They're grown now. When they could curse and do things, they even you know when you disrespect your moms and your dad. Listen, bro, and then the school don't make it no better.
You're supposed to get your ass torn.
Yeah, but these kids cursing at their family. Listen, they do things. Even if you do sit down and talk to them, you know what? You know what?
You know nothing.
They know nothing. They haven't.
And you see, because I get that a lot, especially in my program.
Yeah, you do.
And I be like, what you know? Put me on. Because I know something, and I share what I know. And do I get them all? Nah, I don't get them all. Some don't come back. But yo, there's a lot of kids that I go to programs like when they give me the speech. Listen, we got 16 weeks, Spud. You're gonna be doing this program with these kids. They're on probation and parole. You're gonna have a hard time. Don't get lost in them. And yo, they're already leading the witness. They're already telling me like you're gonna have a hard time. They're not gonna participate. Yo, son, all my programs, I posted. If anybody want to see it on the Spud Inc. SPUD_INC. All my programs, yo, you see these kids laughing.
They enjoying
themselves. But you know what? Most of the introductions before I start the program is, yo, they out there. They can probably give you a hard time. And I'm like, they can give me a hard time. I know how to shake around that. Yeah. You know why I know how to shake around that? Because I was one of them.
Yeah.
I know what to do.
That's the difference, Spud. That's the difference. You understand. They put somebody in front of them that don't understand what they going through and what they living. Yeah. They pay for people that don't know what they talking about. You read something. You don't know what these kids live with. Do you know if the kids see their mom, their father? Do you know? Do you even care? That's like in the schools. You went to a school and it bugged you out. You go into certain schools and they doing nothing for the kids. Kids have nothing. And all the kid want to see is maybe Central Park. Yeah. Maybe a baseball game. Maybe a basketball game.
Yeah.
You know, they cherish the little things. And that's people don't give them the time to give them those little things that they need to cherish. even back to this, but the fathers that try to be in a kid's life, that want to take their kid to the park, but got to deal with the agony of stupidity of going fighting. You know, these kids need a mother and a dad, a mother and a father, bro. Maybe a grandmother and a grandfather, if they have. These kids need love. They need something that's gonna put them. Some kids go outside too, go get love from people that they don't even know.
Yeah.
Oh, those is my mans. Those are not your mans. They don't put bread in your pocket.
The power of belonging. We see it a lot. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the youth minds, the youth mind developing. You know, we don't take the scientific part into consideration. I didn't take it into consideration until a doctor sat on my trial to break down the gray brain matter compared to the white brain matter that talks about circumstances and consequences in development. And in my case, the doctor who wasn't on my side, he was actually on the DA's side, was saying to the DA, no, he's 15. Yes, we look at him as knowing right and wrong, but the comprehension between his brain matter can't develop the actions immediately. It's more responsive. And, you know, it was in my favor, so I'm just like, yeah, say that. But as I got older, a lot of the consequences, I had an idea of it. But in the immediate moment, I didn't take that time to decipher and understand the depths of where that can go. I didn't. I did it, and a lot of our youth do face that.
They face a lot of things that we didn't face, bud. And it's crazy. You know, you see them, and with the pants falling off, they don't even own a belt. I don't even think they know what a belt look like. And if a belt is, they got a $500 belt. They stealing each other's sneakers. They doing things that they not. I ain't gonna lie. Back in the days, you go to the pool, you getting your sneakers taken if you at a certain pool.
Yeah,
but
it happens.
They break your locker.
It happens.
But these kids are physically fighting over J's.
It happened though. It happened when we was kids.
But I'm saying that's in your locker though, but not physically.
It happened in the street.
You understand?
It happened in the street. We was taking Lee patches.
Yeah, but they don't even know what Lees are.
But you see how the generation before us was like, these little effers is out here snatching Lee patches. What are you gonna do with a Lee patch? You got 5,000 Lee patches that you snatched and robbed off of people in your house in a shoebox. But to us, in that immediate time that we were doing stupidity, we thought it was a reason, or we felt it was a reason. When a generation before us was looking at us like, yo, what are they doing? It don't make sense. Now, we of that age, it's happening to us. Like, the cycle just changes its formula. It don't even change the formula per se. It changes the laboratory. But the formulas be all the same. The scientists change, and the glasses get stronger and newer that contain and control stupidity even further. But the formulas are all the same. We seeing a replica of us, but with all the new stuff to make what they're doing even dumber, senseless, easy to translate the stupidity between each other. It's just intense. Around them, the atmosphere grew into the stupidity. Before, we just did stupid stuff and it couldn't leave our block unless somebody told. But now you do some stupid stuff. It's in China.
It's on the phone.
If I air my block out right now, bah, 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 over some stupidity, somebody in China be like, yo, they some block in Brooklyn. Before, back in the days, it stood on the block. Mike stressed over there. Might have got to Queens. Somebody's like, yo, something happened in Brooklyn. But now the stupidity gets transferred so fast, we get desensitized to the stupidity, and then we only think that stupidity happens. Because now the vehicles that putting it out only push when a block get aired out. So now we like, yo, every block getting aired out. Yo, these kids, we got to be careful, man. We got to be careful because there's so many elements. There's so many elements there's so many elements distracting us, misguiding us, and fooling us, and we be playing into
it. They need to wake up, man, before it's too late, man. It's never too late to change your life, man. You know, if drug addicts could do it, and people that was on drugs and living like, you can make a change, bro. You got to make a change. The cells ain't cool. And remember, you only live that one life, so Hope you listen. It's sad to say that cell or it's that box. In the box, you ain't coming back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the people who don't and taking out the phones and watching them, thinking it's funny or them slapping each other, like, man,
Yeah. Yeah.
wake up,
Like,
man.
all that.
Wake up.
Like, those ain't even pranks no more. Like, people didn't do pranks. They take something, hide it, and be like, oh, I tricked you. Now they throwing water balloons at people walking by. They snatching people's phones. They going in supermarkets, like, throwing stuff at them. Like, these ain't pranks, bro. These ain't
People
pranks.
not playing, bro.
These
People
ain't
not
pranks,
playing,
man.
bro.
And that's what I mean by, like, the vehicles that translate the stupidity. It stimulates. And then someone sees the idiot in the grocery store doing that, but he getting his feed is bumping. He getting looks and likes, and you know what another person do? Oh man, I gotta get my joint jumping. Yo, we gonna do a prank joint. The stupidity gets translated so fast, bro. And it's global. It's global. Like, stupidity used to be regional. Like, people in New York had their stupidity. People in California had their stupidity. People in China. Everyone had their level of stupidity. Now, with social media, we just sharing dumb stupidity. We sharing it now. People are like, oh, that's what they doing? I'm gonna get my looks and likes on. We sharing it, so we competing against a lot of vehicles, bro. We compete in a lot of vehicles that we gotta help fight. We gotta help them youngins fight because they shaking hands with the stupidity. We gotta be in there like, nah, son, that ain't it. That ain't it. It's hard.
Yo, Spud, man, I try not to even watch the news or nothing, man. You know, it's sad, man. It's getting like ridiculous already, man. It's getting ridiculous, man. And it always happens to somebody who don't have nothing to be involved in the problem.
And then the news, right? The news, like, we watch the news, and then they also play a part in creating our mind frame because they also will feed us. Like, the news was like the first social media that we didn't realize what God, because they will feed us the perspective of what they want. They'll feed the agenda. They'll show the shooting in the idea of informant, but they feed it to us constant, and we build a perspective to a certain people. That's how the world looks at right now. Right now, how we looking at the youngins and we hoping to save them. The mass majority of the world is looking at me and you like how the youngins are. The world is looking at every man with our shade. We that, because the world plays a part in the projection of what the viewers do because they feed it so much that it becomes a fact. They feed it so much that we even be starting to take in stuff that we believe is a fact and don't realize it. So yeah, our youngins is wilding and they gotta be careful, but we gotta be careful too because we could get caught and don't even realize we got caught, bro.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Spud, these kids need more than, you know. It's sad to say they have way more than us, and they still need more. Some of them need more.
They need us.
They need us to be a part of it.
Yeah, they need
you
us.
understand? If you don't have anything to be a part of, what can we be a part of, Spud? This generation has a lot, but they really don't have nothing, because they don't understand what is to have nothing.
Yeah,
they have everything.
That's why
they have everything in the world.
That's why they need us, bro.
And
we need them.
We need them a lot.
We need each other.
You know, and that's what they fail to realize. Those whatever you call your homies or whatever, you need each other, bro.
Need each other.
You're not gonna make it by yourself. You can make it by yourself, but you always need somebody to. You know, life is real, man. Life is real. You only live that one life. It's either you go straight or you figure it out the hard way, man.
Yeah. And the hard way, sometimes you don't even know you ain't figured out because it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's over, like over for real. When they take it from you, they take it from you, man.
I want to send a big shout out to everybody who partake in the chat on TikTok as well as Instagram. Much love on y'all. If this is your first time jumping on our live, because it has been a few weeks, we just bring living room conversation. We don't even plan it. We just go with the flow and see where the conversation goes, and we feed it in. We invite you into the conversation. So shout out to everybody who's jumping on and adding to the conversation. Much much love on that. Like, we really appreciate that because we believe these type of conversations need to be heard, and also spark questions. Because as you're talking, there's things that are sparking in me that I'm like, oh wow, bro, and it creates me to reflect. So we just hoping that this is what happens for everybody as well on the feed, man. So I just want to send a shout out to everybody out there, man.
I don't I didn't want to talk about this, but that somebody put up there talk about Greg Brooks Jr.
Yeah, unknown
You know,
ghost 288.
That
It's sad.
listen, man. I'm speechless, man.
I mean, I know the response of how he dealt with it is the highlight of the conversation. But I think the actions of him losing his bond, that we can't forget that conversation when we speak about the whole thing, because it's getting segued now. The question is did he handle it right? We getting lost in if he handled it as he felt fit for his being. That was that man. But we getting lost with what happened. We're forgetting what happened, and that's what I'll be bringing in the people.
That's what they put in the dark.
You
what happened?
Because,
you know how you
because
say
we
that?
getting highlighted with his action, and we get played on that.
But you can't play something that you already have like live video. You understand? So you show us the bad part, not the worst part of the guy, Mr. George, Greg Brooks. You know, and listen, man. Any dad would have probably did the same thing, bro. And I'm gonna keep it a buck, man.
Yeah. What I told somebody asked me my opinion, and I said, when you're a parent, there's no telling how you react.
That's
to that.
right.
There's no telling. When you're a parent, I can't tell no parent in a situation like that what's right or wrong for them. I can't say that. And that's why I say I don't want to ever get lost in that action, because I'm a parent as myself, as well as you. So I don't want to get lost in that action, but I want the focus to keep like, yo, let's not forget what happened, because now the conversation is it's either the party or the protest to what he did, how he reacted to something, and we get blinded by that. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, man. As they say that his son had the hammer, which they never found the hammer. They never found the hammer. So, you know, it's disgusting that it had to be a colored kid. You understand? And it's happening constantly. So I treat this like if it was my kid. You know, we have kids, bro. I don't look at it like I don't know what I would have did too, bro.
Yeah, you don't.
So it's like, you know, then they go in there 100 deep to go press son, but you took away son that he created to finish. You know, like, how you gonna replace what you took away?
Yeah, just like True say, OVN True say facts. You wouldn't understand until you're in that situation, and you don't. It's easy for many people to make that criticize. But one thing I will say, and like I spoke to someone in law enforcement one time, who he was in law enforcement. He stopped and he had a strong stance on like, yo, that shouldn't be the way. And I remember when Queens, there was a shooting in Queens where somebody shot a cop in Queens, and I'm in Brooklyn, and the cops were coming through just beating up every black person. Just coming through, sweeping blocks, duffing us out, throwing us in. Even when I was in prison, you know, September's a real hard time, especially if you're in Attica. September's not a fun time because they be doing the anniversaries for riots. But even in prison, like, I saw like a dude duff a officer out, whether right or wrong, duff it out. But then they come on the block and they do a sweep and they breaking us all up. And what I told the officer is, yo, when you dealing with the pain and the representation, you just want to make an example regardless. And he was like, it's not. I said, I'm not arguing right or wrong. It ain't my right to argue right or wrong. That was his response. And there's a cause and effect to everything. And that was the effect of a cause. And that's my stance on it. That's an effect to a cause, and I have no right to say how someone responds to it. But what I will talk about is, let's get back to what happened. What didn't happen, or they said happened. Let's get back to that.
And you know, they always say that's not the right way. What is the right way? You slumping them? You putting the little dude out of commission? What is the right way? What is the right way? There's no right way, bro. Everybody loses in this situation. Everybody. So the more they say the right way, it's never a right way, bro.
Yeah.
And as a parent, bro, he did it the right, to me.
He made his decision.
The right way.
He made his decision.
I'm sorry.
Even if it's the wrong way. Even if it's the wrong. It don't matter if it's right or wrong. He made a decision on an action of how he was feeling and what he wanted to be represented. Mm-hmm. He made a decision. And that's what I be trying to tell people. Once something happens to you, people could talk about right, wrong. I've made decisions that I felt was best for me. Some people be like, yo, that's wrong. Some people say, yo, you was right. It don't matter if you felt I was right. It don't matter when I made a decision because of an action that occurred and I went forward with it. And if I can make a decision and keep my head high and I'm okay with it, I gotta salute anybody who can make a decision on that. Now, the actions from that, how it turns, we have no control of that. But I can't point right or wrong on it.
Listen, man. Like I said again, nobody wins in this situation.
They don't.
And listen, nobody wins, bro. And for the cops, whatever they think they doing right, it's not being done right, bro. All of them are, I don't know what their agendas is and what they want to do, but it's not cool, bro. Cause like you just said, they come on the blocks to beat up black people,
it
bro.
Was tearing up the block. We not even from Queens.
But they look at what we have to go through in life. This is why I say that the kids need to wake up, cause you also got to worry about that. What you carrying and concealing, whatever, bro. They jumping out on you. They could beat you up. They could take you to a block and stomp you out, and you don't know who did it. Cause now they plain clothes. Plain clothes cops was the TNTs back in the days.
Yeah.
Now everybody's a plain clothes cop.
Yep.
You don't know who's on the train. Everybody. This is why I tell you the difference with society now. You don't know who's the police.
Yeah.
They ain't cabs. They all type of stuff, Spud. And
yeah. They like pushing rebel.
Yeah, anything they take.
They pushing.
If they take your car and they like it, they driving it.
They pushing.
And it's crazy because they doing it. Listen, everybody that that's in prison and come home from prison, this been going on a long time, bro. How much more can people take? Now, Greg Brooks is the bad guy. The father's the bad guy because he retaliated on something that they took from him. He can't get it back. Now he looked like the bad guy because you're law enforcement, but law enforcement should have a little consideration of what you're doing too. So you wrong too.
You're wrong too.
So they come and they strong arm now. Now they strong arm. Now the gang come out. Now the real gang come out. So when they go through the system or the judge, they all down with each other. And what's so bad is that our people who are that, they don't even help. They don't even speak up. They don't even speak up.
A lot of them.
A lot of them don't speak up.
A lot of them don't.
They probably would be the one to jump out on you and try to stomp you out.
Yeah, I won't say all. I'm getting out of the habit of saying all.
Not all of them, but I'm just saying. As a black man,
I get it.
You would think that if they did grow up in our neighborhood, they would have a little understanding. Like, yo, chill, bro. You're not from here, and they get a kick out of that. Because it's always 2 and 1.
But like the division of our people, there's always been the field and then the house. And I don't use the N-word, so the field, N-word, and the house. And this was one of the most instrumental tools that those in power used was us against us. So a lot of us have that mentality where we have a self-hate or separation, thinking I'm not like you or I have no associate with you, and that tool of division amplifies the goal. So we start doing the work ourselves after a while. And I brought up Willie Lynch, the Willie Lynch speech, which I have a copy of it. If anybody ever want a copy to read, I'll make a PDF file for you. Feel free to put it in a DM. And if anybody's on TikTok would like a copy, DM Shoe Studio, SHU_studio on Instagram. The only reason why my TikTok DMs is out of whack. But even if it's true or false, the message in that is so powerful about how Willie Lynch was talking about how we're gonna separate them by it started out with shade, but in theory it's not even shade, it's how you take care of them. And this is why they used that tool back in the days of having the house N-word and then a field one, and how they would say it, because now it created an animosity. One feels that they better and one feels like, yo, how dare you? And that's a powerful tool that we see it to this day, but we don't realize where it stems from. We don't see it. So sometimes you might get an officer and you be like, damn, like, brother, I ain't your brother.
Yeah.
I ain't your brother.
Yeah.
And it's like, you ain't my brother.
Yeah.
Like even as a human being, to say brother is a connection. To really, I ain't your brother, like, that right there shows that type of mentality and how powerful being that tool of separation really is.
It's powerful when you put that badge on. That's how they feel, untouchable. You know, they untouchable once they put that badge on. Not knowing that what these kids go through and what they, you know, he didn't have to shoot the kid. He didn't have to, bro. Of course he gonna scream gun, gun, gun. They all do it. That's a given. But when they do it, it's cool. It's cool. You know, and when I seen that they trying to give him the death penalty, I'm like, oh no. This ain't it, bro. This is not what life should be. And we've been going through it for a long time.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. Unfortunately, it is. But I will say this. I will say this, and I'm not saying this in any form of arrogance or anything. The transitions of how this goes is going to continue. There's gonna just as much as what happened to him, and he made an action. There's gonna be an action that happens to him, and it's gonna be favorable to some and unfavorable to some others, and then there's gonna be a reaction to that. And between the actions and reactions, this is the pinnacle part of how we as a people either mend or grow, feed, or even fight. That helps the storyboard down the line. Like, I just hope it doesn't end to nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because the lives are never gonna be like it's altered for them. Period.
You know,
it hopefully it ends in a very impactful way for the mass majority of people that it normally would affect.
You know what's more scary, Spud? That as a kid we didn't see stuff like this so much, and with these kids doing the stuff they doing, it's scary, bro. Cause I don't think they understand what they getting themselves into, bro.
No, they don't.
And it's sad, man. Like there's bigger things in life, man, than to be running and trying to figure out what your man or why he on the block. Forget the block, bro. You don't own the block. They come to your block to take your block. And
take you off the block.
And take you right off the block. And knock your family off the block too,
you off
bro.
The block that don't do nothing for you.
You know?
Because we make up the block. And
yeah.
if we not on the block to make up the block, what sense is the power of the block? The block only has meaning as if we ever people create it. So if the block is foul, the actions of the block is we gotta change that. Like, we are the actions of the things that we say that represent us. Now I go to some place and I be like, "Where you from?" "I'm from Brooklyn." And I play, no, I represent Brooklyn. Brooklyn don't represent me. My actions, how I finesse, how I present, I represent. Brooklyn don't represent me.
And I just thought about that. You said that the block. Where you go after that? To the cell block.
Cell block. You got another block for
You
you.
ever thought about that one?
They got another block for
They
you.
got a bigger block for you if
Yep.
you want that one. And if you tough enough, I hope you can walk on that cell block. So I just wish you kids open up, man. Just be mindful of what you're gonna do, man. Cause it might be your last time, man. And to be at that age, you know that block ain't the cool block to be on, bro.
It ain't.
Cause you ain't got you don't have these, you don't. I just hope you can use these, man. And a lot of you kids don't even realize what block you going to, bro. Might be the block, that block might be the enemy block that they gonna throw you in there, and you ain't got no control over that one neither. So you figure it out. Since you don't want to listen to the parents or whoever, listen to that man that's gonna throw you in the block because he don't like you and want the other guys on the block to take care of you.
Yeah. And I will say this, and Ms. Jackson said, "I represent me." That statement just sparked this. And I'm not separating anybody, but I'm using this predominantly because we have to keep this in mind for any person that represents or call themselves black, or any person who's black. Don't forget that you represent.
That's
represent every other black person.
That's right.
When I step into an arena, when I step into a precinct, when I step into a school, when I'm on the bus, when I'm walking down the street, I'm not dolo in my representation. Everywhere I go, I represent. And just as much as I represent, that young kid, when he on a train and people see him acting a fool and all that, he's representing me.
That's right.
And because he's representing me and because they represent us, we got to make sure the representation is right. So we can't just sit back, y'all. We can't. It's not easy. And I'm not saying it's easy. And I'm not saying you got to do it for every single one of them. You still got to be careful. But if we representing each other, I can't be the only... we can't be the only ones representing right. And then I got all these ones representing wrong. I gotta talk to them. I gotta holler at them like, yo, bro, come on, you ain't doing us right. You ain't treating the block. This block of ours, this block we got, you ain't treating it right.
You know, they just gotta wake up, man. My wife just said to know yourself is to love yourself.
I want to add to that too. I just had this conversation with my friend, and to know yourself is also to learn to love yourself.
You gotta love yourself before anything.
You
man.
gotta learn to love yourself because
That's
sometimes
right.
we be holding back on our pains or our hardships, our shortcomings. We be self-sabotaging. We be doing all these things. Like, you gotta learn to love it. You love yourself, bro. You gotta learn yourself to love yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's work for us too. It's work for us too.
You know what I learned? You know what I learned when she used to tell me that? I never thought about that because I used to think I loved myself. Pardon me, like I loved myself, but I didn't understand what that meant.
What it meant.
And when you sit back and you be like, damn, do I really love myself?
That's real.
Do I really love myself? And at times, you know, when you got a strong backbone and you got somebody that's there to like keep knitting at you, you know, life changes so fast, and I just look at the world different, bro. I don't know. I can't see things on TV no more. Because I have kids. And I have a heart. It's sad when father gets up there and his kid get killed, bro. You know?
Miss Jackson said, I was told that I'm disrespectful because the artists I work with see me as a non-black. I think that's true. I got a question for you, Miss J. The person who said that, was it a black person? I'm just curious. The person that shared that with you is a black person. I would like to know that. Too bad, because I'm a dope person who don't see color. I'll never say I don't see color. I see color. I think when we say we don't see color, we don't genuinely see the circumstances of what's happening. I see color. Now, do I allow color to just misjudge? Or no. But I see color like a motherfucker. I do. I see color. And I see color and I see likes and dislikes and all of it. But I think that's one thing we as a people gotta stop saying, "Oh, I don't see color," because that voids some of the realities of things that's happening to people. I see color like a motherfucker. I see white privilege. I see poor white. I see it all. I see black. I see honorable. And I see some that need some work. You gotta see color because there's a true to life story and perspective that society holds or traditional means. So I'm just sharing this as people. This is my perspective. I think we gotta stop saying we don't see color and see color, because then I think you could get a true appreciation to some circumstances.
I don't know. I don't know, Spud. I don't know what that like see color or we all bleed red, man.
We do.
We all bleed the same, and yeah, people are privileged and all that, but I'm me and you're you, and I just live different, bro. I don't know. I don't know, Spud.
I get you.
You know how people, I sit home and they always say there's always a chosen one, and there's a lot of things in life that I wish I could change, that I went through and been through in my life. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I never, I think I had a hard life, Spud. You understand? Because, having parents that are on drugs, I had a hard life. When two parents are in a household and you live life, it's a different feeling, man. It's a bond that, it's so hard to see life now that a lot of kids don't make it to my age, bro.
Yeah.
They don't even know what it is to be, man. I just, forget everything you see, man. Just you live that one life, man. Just you live that one life, man. And you got to make it the best for you, man. Because at the end of the day, your parents, your dad and your moms, they are who they are. You got to make a life for yourself. And a lot of kids don't know what life is, man. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard for them, man.
It's hard for all of us. It's not easy. It's not easy.
And the race card, that's the most disgustingest thing in the world, bro. The race card is nasty.
You mean using it against people?
Yes, that is nasty, bro.
Yeah.
And if you look at people for their race, something's wrong with you. And if the person is black, you shouldn't be working with the person.
Miss J, the person who said that was telling you their viewpoint of how they seen the perspective. But I will say this to anybody, and not just you, Miss J, anybody. If I deal with 10 people, and 9 out of the 10 people say, "Yo, Spud, you mad disrespectful," because I feel like you treating me because I'm not black. I'm just using that as a phrase. I really got to start internalizing how I'm approaching things. If we hearing it consistently, then the only true equation is us. So we got to really, and we might not be doing it in that essence, but how we delivering it may feel that way. So we got to start, like Dee said, she made a comment. She said, no, that's not true to say that. You need to look into yourself. And sometimes we need to look at how we approach things, because it might be looking like that, but not meaning like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a big believer. If I hear something more than once, I start especially if it's not what I mean. Or if someone tell me Spud, you was mad hard, bro. You made them feel bad. And then I keep hearing it. I'm like, man, what is it, my face? Okay, I gotta think about that. I gotta really you know what I'm saying? I don't have the intent. It's not my intent, but my display might be showing that. I really gotta start questioning. What am I doing?
What you saying?
Yeah, and how am I doing it?
And what comes out of your mouth?
Yeah, that's not what I mean. So you really gotta start really looking into that. That's just how I feel.
My son said, "Dad, I love you. Good night. Get home safe." Oh, that's you
that's
unknown. Oh.
Yeah.
What up, little name? And
I was wondering.
I'm wondering who that too was. Like I say, man, you just gotta love life, man. Love your life, man. Love your life, and You know,
Jay said it's your eyebrows. I be like, yo, son, I love you, B. I love you, son. I want to make shit happen for you. They be like, yo, Spudge just threatened my life. Like, no, that's not what I meant, man. I was passionate.
no,
I was just
listen.
passionate.
You gotta love life, bro, and you love it. You love life, but you know what? Your life wasn't always peaches and cream.
It still ain't.
But no, I'm not saying no.
Nah, I get what you mean.
You know, and for you to be who you are and the way you are, it can't get you know your Spud. I've been around dudes that been incarcerated and still the same way, you know, and I didn't realize, you know, like incarceration make these dudes like I don't know. I can't explain it to you, bro.
I seen good kids make a bad decision come out criminals. I watched kids who weren't criminals, bro. Wasn't criminals, man. He just thought, yo, that $5 on the counter, I'ma snatch it because I could buy a whole bunch of other stuff with it and go to prison. And he learned how to do everything in the world, bro. You know what I mean?
That's my son. My son is that's not the cop. That's the kid. That kid is the kid that went to LSU that I was telling you about.
Oh.
They made him get a surgery, and the kid ended up getting paralyzed, bro.
Oh yeah. You wanted to talk about that when we went to the
and I just thought about it that I see that my son put it up and
we gotta save a whole show.
Oh
for that.
man, yo,
we gotta save a whole show for that.
Damn,
because I want to talk about how, you know, we get played in places that we think are growing us, like colleges and stuff. I think that's a whole topic of its own. Like we look at the streets of how we get played in politics, but then how school and some of the institutions that are supposed to be growing us and lining us into a whole situation. I don't. If you want to tell, I think that deserves a whole thing. Because
I just thought about that because I was no, we gotta leave that.
I'm ready to go off. So
I was wondering who that was, and he said Greg Brooks Jr. and I'm like Greg Brooks Jr. I forgot we was at the Mets game talking about it.
Yeah, I thought that was the shooting.
Me too.
I got.
But I'm like, then when he said, "Dad, I love you," I'm like, "Oh, that's my son. He's talking about the football player."
Yo, Miss J said you want to pass the offering plate around now?
I don't pass no plates around. I don't touch the plates.
My Cash App is no.
You know that's even sad. That you know, see, I even show my son stuff like that, Spud.
What?
That how people use people to their advantage, and when it's not beneficial to them anymore, they throw you to the scraps.
Yeah, you out of here.
And you know, my son is 13, about to be 14, and you know, I do things with him that I never experienced. So I always want him to understand that, you know, in life, you know, things can happen at a snap of a finger. You can have it, and they can take it all away.
That's real.
And to be by him and watch him grow is like, now I'm really starting to see life different. Cause I have somebody that I could, you know, do things with, and, you know, even sitting at the game with you and my son Spud, and we chilled, and it's like, I'm sitting with him like, damn, I'm really in the game with my son.
With
and
your son.
Chilling. I didn't have that as a kid.
Yeah, same here.
I never had that.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy, bro.
But we touched on a lot, y'all. I hope something from the conversation was something you could take away from it. I've been saying this a lot. Take from it what you wish, add to it what you want, and just feed and fuel the next people or someone near you, man. I'm glad we came back. We came back hot. We came back fiery today.
Bro.
We came back fiery today, but you know, dialogue is very important, y'all. Having these conversations, it sparks thoughts. Sometimes it sparks you know, solutions, all different things. I think we having a dialogue because we're getting fed a lot of things. It's time for us to start multiplying the cognitive thoughts, man. So Shout out to everybody that rocked out with us on today, man. This is Dungeon Talk. Again, if this is your first time, it's living room conversation.
Before we go too, I also want to say another thing that, to know yourself is to love yourself, but don't repeat a cycle. Don't repeat the cycle. You gotta break the cycle, man. You break the cycle, things change. And I just want these kids and this generation to understand that you can make a change, bro. If you want to change, wake up, man. You can make the change happen. You might be the next person that could make the change. You might be tough today, but you can make the change, man.
Bang, bang, 50 cal.
Itch, man. Itch, man. Shout outs to my man, Itch, man.
Itch.
I don't... Spud don't hold back. I don't hold back, man.
Yeah,
it's just...
Man. It's real.
It's real, man.
It's real.
Because we both parents, man, and we love life, man. We love life, man.
Nate is a philosopher, yo.
Nah, I ain't no philosopher. I love life, man. I wish I was a philosopher. I wish I was a spitter. And before I leave, shout outs to my mans that got a spot in Long Island called City Island. They just opened a restaurant. I went today.
Oh.
Check they spot out. They got a dope spot over there in Baldwin. It was cool to see them. Two of the dudes I cool with.
Nice.
We
gotta pull up.
Nah, we gotta pull up, man. My man's opened a spot, City Island. It's called City Island Good Eats. It's in Baldwin, and actually, my man, both of my mans, but one of them, they brother ended up dying from cancer, man. He's a twin, man, and I know these kids for a long time, man, and I walked in there and he said, "Yo, man, what else I could do with my money, man?" And I thought about it like, damn, which it takes somebody to just go away to change your life, man, that fast, man. I wish them all the best, man.
Yeah,
wish them all the best, man.
Salute to them. We're gonna pull up.
It's a dope spot, man. Go check it out, man. City Island, man.
That's the name of it?
It's called City Island.
Where's that?
Baldwin.
Off
of Grand Avenue, man. Good dudes, man. Two good dudes, man, that own that joint, man. It's the LA and Twin, man. They good dudes, man.
Check that out.
Check them out, man.
With that being said, thank you for hanging out with us on a Sunday. We glad we missed a few weeks, but we came back, and I'm glad the energy was fueling, and we had a good back and forth. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend and into your week. Take something from this, man, and feed somebody else. Let's keep that transition going and duplicate that, man. But I'm Spud Brooklyn.
I'm Nate.
This is Dungeon Talk. See y'all next week. Yo, y'all be good, man. Be safe. We out.